Think back to a major transition in your life, starting your first job, graduating from high school, living on your own, getting married, or having a child. As you were navigating one of these transitions, what were you feeling? Who helped you? What kinds of things did teachers or counselors do that were helpful to you? How about your family and friends? All of us need help when we make major life transitions, but we also need to have a sense of self-determination, an opportunity to make our own decisions and chart our own course. Making choices is one of the key ways we can define ourselves and develop a sense of identity. For young people with disabilities, navigating the transition from high school to adult living is the first major opportunity to assume an adult role and make choices about their lives.
I just wanted to get out of high school and just go straight to work, but when I went to find a job for this school year, I found out it's really hard to go out and find a good paying job without a further education.
Taking charge of one's life doesn't happen easily or automatically. It requires thinking, planning, and advanced preparation. All students need to develop greater self-awareness as they prepare to leave high school and make choices about the next steps in their lives. But students with disabilities may have an even greater need for self-awareness. They must come to terms with their disabilities and how those disabilities affect their identity and their prospects for post-secondary education, employment, and adult living.
I never really wanted to go to college because I was scared, because I wasn't sure of just the resources that I would have out there, and if I would be left out on my own, I wouldn't make it. So, but there are so many different opportunities and different resources out there to help me through college. I'll make it.
We knew that she was going to need more training, so what we did is we tried to get her to do a work experience through high school in her IEP, and she also went out and was able to get a job on her own, so now she's working for a local restaurant at night.
It's hard to know where to begin or to know how to advise your child. What would be realistic for him? How much should you expect of him? Where and when to start transition planning are big questions for parents and students. Fortunately, the answers to these questions are fairly simple. The place to begin is with the student. The time to start is at age 14 or earlier if possible. Special education law, which applies to all public school programs, says beginning at age 14 and every year thereafter, the IEP must include a statement of a student's transition service needs in his or her courses of study. How do you know what a student's transition needs might be? Again, you start with the student. What are the student's hopes and dreams for the future? What are the student's strengths and weaknesses? What kind of adult life would the student prefer? In order to get a better handle on what your child might be able to do in the future, sometimes it's helpful to have some assessments done. The IEP team can recommend any of 3 types of testing: academic achievement, aptitude, and vocational abilities. For example, aptitude tests might show that the student would do well in law enforcement or the military. With this information, you can think more concretely about what your child must learn in high school to prepare to enter his or her fields of interest. Another area in which school personnel and outside agencies can provide assistance is informing parents and students about the options available. For example, 2-year and 4-year colleges, vocational technical education, training programs, apprenticeships, military careers, support services like vocational rehabilitation, supported employment, and supported living programs. With this information, students and parents can educate themselves about eligibility criteria for future programs and make sure that students are prepared to meet the eligibility standards of the programs they want to enter. Students may be eligible for a vocational technical school where they can learn a trade and also acquire credits that later could be transferred to a 4-year college. High school vocational classes can also be used to prepare students for entry into a VOTEC school after high school. School staff can hold an informal planning meeting where the student, teachers, parents, and family members meet to discuss the student's plans after graduation. Here they can discuss how to help the student realize his or her dreams.
The classes I took in high school were auto mechanics, and they helped me prepare for mechanics in college so I could take when I get out of college and be a mechanic.
Knowing that Mike, a high school senior, wants to live independently and have a job helps the family and the school team to think about what skills he will need. Those skills become a priority in Mike's IEP. For example, a transition statement might look like this. Mike wants to have a job, use public transportation, and live in his own apartment. To realize these goals, he needs vocational training and work experience. He needs to learn how to use public transportation. He needs to improve daily living skills such as money management, cooking, cleaning, and personal health care. Given the statement of need, Mike's IEP should include a list of high school courses that includes vocational training, work experience, daily living skills, and community-based skills. Also included in the IEP should be an indication of when Mike plans to graduate from high school. Will he accomplish his high school program in 4 years, or will he need more time? Starting at age 16, the goals and objectives in an IEP should be tied directly to transition needs. In Mike's case, the IEP should include goals in all the following areas: daily living skills, health and physical care, mobility, and money management.
The IEP will determine, as far as their credits, what they need to graduate. If the IEP says they only need one language arts, it's going to be based on that student's needs, and we'll be flexible to that. At the same time, we might make recommendations that we might substitute, say, a spelling for an English, those type of things, just based on whatever that individual has to have to prepare them for that transition.
As Mike nears the end of his high school education, his IEP team should expand to include adult service agency personnel who may be helpful in making the plans for Mike to enter their services. These include the Independent Living Center, vocational rehabilitation, developmental disabilities program, college support services, and other training programs.
Vocational rehabilitation can provide suggestions to the students about different types of job skills they can learn while they're still in school. We can also begin the process of determining eligibility for vocational services once they graduate from school.
The student is encouraged to participate fully in transition planning, but to be an active participant, most special education students need some training in self-determination skills. This training might include instruction in self-awareness, including self-assessment of assets, interests, and preferences, knowledge of the disability, decision-making, goal setting, and negotiation skills.
I need help.
In self-determination training, students learn to value and trust themselves. They acquire the advocacy skills that allow them to ask for help when they need it. Learning self-determination skills is important for students in special education because when they turn 18, the age of majority, they become their own advocates in the special education process. All the special education rights which parents exercise are turned over to the students themselves. The student becomes the signer of his or her own IEP. It's a good feeling knowing that you can speak for yourself at special education meetings, but it's also a great responsibility.
Through training positions, where do you eventually want to end up with your job?
Head mechanic. In the IEP meeting, I'd like them to hear from my opinion what my interests are and just what I like to do.
So transition planning is a process of getting to know yourself and the options for your future, making decisions, and accepting the consequences of those decisions. Planning for the future and making your own decisions can be scary. It's normal during transition to experience a wide range of intense emotions, from fear of the unknown and grief over the loss of what you are leaving, to anticipation and excitement about new beginnings. What do you think you need from professionals, the teachers and counselors available to you in high school? Information. Students have to know what's out there for them, what's possible. A listening ear. You need adults who listen to what you want and why you want it. Guidance and support from caring family and friends is essential.
My family believes in me when I want to be like a mechanic. They believe that I can do good as being a mechanic, and they encourage me to get into that.
What do you need from family and friends? more listening, encouragement. It's hard to face the big world out there when you know that there will be prejudice concerning your disability, and you need support. The practical support is important too. Help with moving, household items, or money. Sometimes parents and friends with good intentions may not be helping at all by second guessing, telling students their choices aren't good ones, or giving advice when they haven't asked for it, telling students what to do instead of letting them make their own decisions and mistakes. What young people with disabilities need to make successful transitions is similar to what all young people need: information, support, and the opportunity to make their own choices and live with them.
As our children prepare for leaving high school, it's hard to know how to advise them. But one of the most important things we as parents need to do is really listen intently to what the child wants and desires for their future, and then help them to attain those goals either through college or through job experience.
Through the IEP, special education students can plan for the future and learn the skills they need to be successful. With the cooperation of parents and teachers, special education students can prepare themselves for navigating the transition to post-secondary education, employment, and living in the community after high school. For more information, contact Parents Let's Unite for Kids at 1-800-222-7585.